All right, Brian Bay back here post week 5 podcast episode. Last week we had some good games, some bad games, some blowouts, some crazy things happen. Greg is going to start us off with the awards and chits like normal. You ready for that?
All right. Yep. So week 5 awards with the MVP of the week goes to John with 218.48 points. Then with the bum is our very own Matt right here. He finished with 85.9 points this week. If I remember correctly, he's the only one not to break triple digits this week. So yeah. The nail biter of the week is our very own Brian over his new nemesis, Kevin. I've been seeing the chat going on, and we had a nail biter between the two probably biggest mouths in the league right now. So Brian had that by 8.72 points. And then finally, the blowout of the week was little brother versus big brother. And I'm not talking about my brother. I'm talking about Mark Lawrence right here versus his brother Matt by 66.22 points. So 3 of the 4 of us on here are award winners of some sort this week. I think Matt prefers not to have his, but there you have it.
Man, so you were right, Greg. I guess the elder Matt is the trashier of the two Lawrences, like you said.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah,
Sorry, Matt.
bad news bears. I couldn't be happier to be Kevin myself. That was a great win by my team to shut him up, even though he still tries to talk. But, it was proven on the field that he is garbage, and we're moving on from that. A rivalry has to be won. He has to start winning games to be a rivalry. So I won't accept that for a couple more years. I will say that. But we are going to I'll recap our week 5 picks. I'm making up some ground here a little bit. So first game was Brian versus Kevin, myself versus Kevin. Mark and I got that right. Greg got it wrong. He stuck with his little buddy and drowned. Andy, we had a 3-way sweep on that. Who did he beat? Oh, Jimmer. Jimmer's about done for the year. We said that already. Next game was M. v. Nick. Greg and I got that right. Matt wrong with Nick. B. Walt and little brother John. John pulled that off, so Greg was right. Mark and I were wrong. Antoine v. Greg. Greg just keeps trucking along somehow. Blind squirrel usually only finds one nut. Greg's found about 5 now. Fred v. Jacob. I got that right. Fred's back. I told you he was hot. He's ready to go. And in the game of the week, we had a 3-way sweep on Mark over Matt. Not to keep bringing that up, but
yeah, come on the podcast so we can shit all over you.
Come on in. Hey, in my defense, I tried to have you on the week before, but you guys had previous obligations, so things happened.
It's all good. It's a long season.
But how do you feel so far? Are you still trying? This a question for Matt. Are you still trying to win now, or are you going to go into rebuild mode, or still undecided?
It's still early. I mean, a lot of my issues have to do with injuries. So, I mean, when your top running back, who's top 5 in the league, is injured, 3 out of the first 5 weeks, it's never a good sign. So, hoping that Eckler will come back, but it's just a weird feeling out process, I would say, as far as the amount of players that you have, and then thinking about compared to like traditional leagues. I have played in one league where you do have draft picks that you can trade, so that's kind of like unique. There's not a lot of leagues that you're trading draft picks with as deep a roster as you have in this. So that is taking a little adjusting. But all in all, I'm down to ride the wave. I don't think that it's sell mode yet. There's a lot of injuries, a lot of football left to be played, and any week somebody can have a game breaking week and score 50 points, 60 points, like whatever Chase put up in our league. So you still have the chance. I don't think it's as bleak as, sell for the future yet.
Yeah, I can see where you're coming with that. You always got a fighting chance. It's still early, and you put up some points. Minus this week, you always seem to be in it, and you can have, like you said, have a breakthrough week like Antoine did against me. I mean, it was kind of a fluke on that end, so it can easily be a fluke on the other end. Mark, do you have any questions for Matt or Greg?
Yeah, Matt. How does your ass feel from that ass whooping I gave you?
It doesn't feel very good. Like I said, injuries have been ravaging me. Plus, Kenneth Walker was on bye last week, so I'm scraping the bottom of the barrel as far as my running backs. Throwing out a Kareem Hunt and Alexander Madison's fucking terrible performance all year. I'm going to take over for Dalvin Cook. You may look like Dalvin Cook, but you ain't got the game, son. So I'll take the L on that. I'll take the L.
I will say I supported you on Madison. I have him in my other league, and I really thought I didn't think he'd be Dalvin Cook, but I thought he'd be a reasonable, high RB2. He would
You thought
produce
he'd put up
something.
at least, a consistent like 50 yards, maybe a touchdown every other week, but
Yeah, make him at least a flex starter RB2. But now he's shit the bed. He's shit all over me in that league too. So.
and now they're going to be stacking the box because fucking Jefferson's hurt. So
Yeah,
God help him.
hopefully they just fling it to Hawkinson, and
Yeah.
we'll rack up points that way. Greg, do you have anything for Matt?
Yeah, I don't really have a question. I just want to thank him for backing up my statement. For being the trash of the league. Not you, that's your team.
Okay. Well,
I feel
like I
bad
said,
saying it, but
there's a lot of football left, but the record does indicate that currently I am in the cellar. But like I said, we got a lot of fight.
yep.
We aren't going to give up, and we're going to trudge on.
Yeah, I figure I probably should just back it up since you're on here and just want to thank you for it.
It's all good. I respect you for saying it face to face. Well, Zoom to Zoom.
That's all I got.
Hey, Matt.
Okay, what?
What do you think about the draft? This is your first time doing Dynasty, right? So what was your like thought process for like your picks?
Well,
what was your like key focus?
just that it like you lose. I mean, not to be like discrediting the league. I have of a work fantasy league, and then I've got like another league that I've been in with my buddies for like I think this is our like 17th year. Not to say that I was distracted with those, but like with a timer of 24 hours, you kind of forget like shit. I haven't made a draft pick in like 2 days. So I think that maybe if the timer was a little shorter, it would have gone faster. That being said, there's just a lot of people, and also seeing how the scoring works out, that also can make a decision. Like defensive players, I found can be quite beneficial to your weekly score, more so than like you have three of them. So like if somebody has a pick six and then like 5 tackles, they've got 20 plus points, something like or close to that. So I think the addition of the defensive players gives you a little bit more leeway, so that if you do have an offensive injury, you may not miss out on as many points because you have like a stud defensive player. But I just thought that
I will say, I'll just chime in real quick. I will say that I didn't anticipate having the defensive players have that many points. That was kind of an error. But now that like the season's going on, I don't hate it as much. Because I tried to do it to like it just didn't have the same settings as the other league I'm in. So it was kind of a glitch, but I'm kind of feeling it. So sorry to cut you off, but I just want to throw that in there.
No, you're good. I think it just adds a little wrinkle that you're not used to. But I think, like I said, it can make up for your team's not dashed if you lose like a 1A wide receiver, because you may have, like I said, a stud linebacker that's getting 20, 15 tackles each week, or they're causing chaos.
I just lost Matt
I think
Milano.
bring up a good point too. The draft being long, but that's the only time it's going to be that long, right? Because like from here on out, we have I think 5 rounds and it's only rookies. So that the initial one with the dynasty league is always tough because you're stocking up your whole team. But from here on out, we'll be able to do the traditional draft within a way smaller time frame.
Right. Yeah, like I said, this is I definitely understand that now. It's just like when you're drafting for the first time, it's like, Jesus Christ, this thing will never end. But I like when we get settled in, it's gonna be pretty seamless. So,
and I will say I probably could have set the draft up differently too. This is my first time running a dynasty, so I made some errors, some casualty effects of what I was deciding to do. In my head, I wanted to make sure everybody had enough time to get picks in. But I think how I would have done it, if I were to redo one, I think I'd have broke it up into thirds and had like 3 drafts basically, because I could have just paused it after like 6 rounds or 7 rounds or something. Said, all right, on Tuesday night we're doing 7 rounds. Everybody be there. Then a week later we'll do another 7 rounds, and I probably would have done it that way. I just didn't cross my mind when I was setting it up.
Yeah, it didn't all fall on you though either, because we talked about it, and I was thinking the same thing, not thinking that giving people such a long leash that it was going to drag out like it did.
Yeah, but that's all good. Good insight. Good insight. We can move forward to picks if you guys want.
Sounds good.
All right,
Matt, we'll do some celeb picks. So the first game up is actually Cincinnati Bay versus Sunshine. Brian versus Matt. I will obviously pick myself. Greg.
Yep. I'm going to continue to pile on to my statement. I'm picking Brian in this one. I don't really have we know the reason. It's a long season. It's a long season. I'm rooting for you, Matt, but
everybody's rooting for Matt. Let's be honest. They might not pick you, but they're rooting for you. I tell you that. Mark, who you got?
I'm going to go with Brian. Matt, I know you haven't touched your lineup yet because you normally do it later, but you have Braxton Berrios still in your lineup. The fact that he's not dropped concerns me. So I'm going to need you to fix that. But I'm going to go with Brian, and Matt's going to get another poo.
Oh, another
I'm picking
3 in a row.
I'm picking myself. There will not be 3 poos in a row. Kenneth Walker coming back. I know he's playing the Bengals, but he's going to get some decent yards. Eckler back. Brock Purdy going to be starting against Cleveland. I like my chances.
I like your confidence.
That's right.
Don't get the turkey poo.
He's definitely. Otherwise, you will have to change your name to King of the Poos.
Oh, yeah, like Mark did.
King of the Poos.
Oh, my God.
I love it, dude. I love it. All right, next game is Team MLaw 2303 versus Boondocks 87. So Mark versus Jacob. I went with Mark. I just think Jacob, I will admit, he has another demerit. He started Penny again. So if you can't get a running back in your lineup, I can't pick you. So that's my main reason. Greg, what do you got?
First, I'm going to say it's a fair reason. But I'm going to Mark as well. And I put down the note that I think it's going to be a close game, but Mark's going to beat him. And the reason why I went with the close game, he has Pat Mahomes. You have Tua. I'm trying to think what else. I think it's just a gut thing, actually, looking at it. But, Mark, I like your team. I really like Laporta, your tight end. I think Detroit is looking really nice, which is fun to see. Yeah, I'm with Mark in this one.
I'm going to go with Mark as well. Just like scouting through each lineup, I don't really see too many options or players aside from Mahomes that are going to score a lot of points. And I think that Mark has some sizable matchups where they're going to drop some bombs. So I'm going with Mark.
And I'm going to take myself, and this kind of bit me in the ass last time, but I'm going to say it's not even going to be close.
Okay. Are you calling
All right.
Jacob trash?
What was it?
Are you calling Jacob trash?
Other than Pat Mahomes, McLaurin Ridley, yes, his team is trash.
Oh, watch out, Jacob.
Calling him out.
Get the
He might
garbage
bench press
can.
you, Mark.
He could.
Next
He
game
very-
up is Two Infinity and Bijan versus Team TPJN. So Andy v. John. I went with Andy. I think he's going to keep trucking along. I just still think he's got a pretty superior team overall. John's had a couple wins because Burrow's starting to wake up, but I feel like Zach Moss, this might be the week he starts falling off with JT being back. I mean, he's got some parts. It's just I just don't buy into his team, and I hate to say it because he is pulling off dubs, but I just can't buy into John just yet. So, again, maybe like someone said, like a gut thing. But Greg, who you got?
Well, I want to start off by saying that I went back and forth on this one. I think it's going to be another close one. And I originally was going with Andy, but something in my gut told me to go with John. So I'm going with John in this one. I think Burrow's going to have another big game, maybe chasing it 4 touchdowns this week. Brian, I'm sure you'll like that. But, I mean, Andy does have a solid team. Nothing against Andy. It's just almost more of a gut thing. John's putting up some points now, and he does have some solid pieces. So I'm going to go with John this one. But with that being said, I didn't even think about Moss with the JT situation. But I'm going to stick with John.
I'm going to go with Andy on this one. I think Andy's team's hard to bet against because he has a lot of really, really good players. And maybe DJ Moore and Justin Fields figured out something this past week. Or maybe it was just a fluke, but I think he's got some really solid pieces, definitely.
And I'm going to go with John because I don't think that Geno Smith is going to do shit. I also see that the Bills are playing the Giants, and John has 2 Bills wide receivers. I definitely see Josh Allen throwing for 550 yards against that horrible, horrible, horrible Giants team. So I'm taking John in the upset.
Hey, if that does happen, if you could just throw all 500 yards to Mr. Cook, that would be great.
No, he's going to split it. 250 to Diggs, 250 to Gabe Davis.
Jesus.
3 to Cook.
It'll
It'll be a screen pass.
Jesus. Next one we have is Hawaii Shark Bears, Nick, versus Team Shipwrecked 513 Jimmer. I like to refer this as the Toilet Bowl because they're both in the toilet, trash. Teams are both sharp and soft, as we would say. But unfortunately, I got to pick somebody. And since I just know that, generally speaking, Jimmer knows more about football than Nick does, I'm going to go Jimmer in this one. But it could really go either way. This might be a 25-20 just shit fest. Greg?
Well, in the Game Time Bowl, a.k.a. the Toilet Bowl, I am also going with Jimmer in this one. I just think his team is superior to Nick's. I mean, right off the jump, Jalen Hurts over Kirk Cousins. I know he's going against the Jets defense, but I think the Eagles will still continue to win. And Miles Sanders against Miami. I'm not sure how that will go, actually. But I'm just not sold on Nick's team. I know he hasn't set his, or I hope he hasn't set his lineup yet because Justin Jefferson's in the lineup, and that is his best player. And with his best player out, I think Nick's going to be hurting, and he might get the most blown out this week. I don't know about the poo, Matt. Don't worry, but
That's fucked up. I
I'm gonna
think
say that Jimmer is gonna take the dub, and that is based solely on the brotherly shove and the fact that Nick has Jerick McKinnon and Chuba Hubbard as the starting running backs. I think that Hurts will outrush both of those guys. So on
combined.
that alone, I'm going with Jimmer.
I think I'm gonna get the broom and do the sweep here on that one. I think it's just gonna be tough for Nick to rebound, especially with Jefferson going on the IR for 4 games.
All right, next one up is GTP8 versus B Walt. So Greg versus Brandon. Oh, I gotta pick Greg. I think he keeps his train rolling. He probably is just gonna wait till the playoffs to choke at this point. I could see him doing a whole New England Patriots situation, making it to the chip and then choking to an Eli Manning helmet catch type of scenario v myself. So at this point, I'm just going to root for Greg to go undefeated so I can rip his heart out in the chip. And even if it's not me, anyone ripping his heart out in the chip would be great. So, but I'm leaning that. I mean, Fields, I think, is on his way up now that he's not on Mark's team. He had to get that damn hate the fuck off of him and get to a Big Ten, owner, future Big Ten owner at least. Herbert is going to be good. Montgomery's been going the hell off. I will admit, as a man, I was wrong on that, at least thus far. I had hate towards Montgomery, and I got shat on. I'm man enough to admit that one. Mostert's even looking further up now that A-Chain or A-Chan or however the hell he wants to say his name this week looks like he's going to be out for a few weeks, so that's going to be rough. See, Nico Collins been doing all right. Cup's back, so I mean, everything's pointing Greg's way. Everything's pointing up, I think. So pass it on to the man himself, Greg. I assume you're probably picking yourself.
I am. This is probably the easiest game I have so far this year. Yeah, I think this is going to be done by. It's going to be done early. Actually, I don't know what time everyone plays, so I can't say by like Sunday afternoon. But I'm
Thursday night.
Maximum. Unfortunately, I hate to admit this. I think I agree with Brian, though. I can see me having the best regular season and then all for naught. But I'm hoping not. I want to keep trying. And thank you, Brian, for admitting that you're wrong on David Montgomery. You and Mark and Brandon were in my head the first week and maybe second guess my team. But as we keep rolling, I feel good. Yeah, so now I'm enjoying being the top dog.
Mark?
I think I can't bet against Greg. I think Greg's gonna go 6-0. It's tough. Greg's team's rolling on a very hot streak. They're just putting up some absurd points and some absurd numbers. So kind of hard to bet against that.
And I will also take Greg. If you just look at Montgomery coming on fire, Mostert's going to get majority of the carries in the Dolphins offense. Nico Collins has been surprisingly awesome. And most of the stuff is what Brian touched on. Cooper Kupp coming back. Pitts is getting touches. Etienne just balled the fuck out. So I see a Devontae Smith on Brandon's team, and he's either, 3 catches, 150 yards and a touchdown, or 2 targets, 1 catch, 5 yards. And then Justin Fields has only had 2 weeks. Need to see more. I know you're playing Minnesota, but I don't think Justin Fields is winning this matchup. Maybe Aiden Hutchinson getting a strip sack and returning 3 fumbles for touchdowns. But even then, I still don't see it.
All right, next we have is Team Kinged It Minded Poppy versus Pocket Aces. So Antoine v. Kevin. I am gonna have to go with Antoine on this for the main purpose of he is the first one to break 1,000 points this year. He's by far the highest scorer in the league somehow, even though his record does not reflect, minus when he decided to wax my booty hole. So I'm just the points don't lie to me. I think eventually he's going to pull a win, and what better week now than when he plays all PC Kevin there, and I just think this is his turnaround week, really, and that not much more to it than that. Just he's putting the points up. Greg,
I'm surprised that you picked anyone in this one. I know how you and Antoine are in fantasy, and the new rivalry or not rivalry, but the trash talking between you and Kevin. But anyways, I also went with Antoine in this one, and scarily a lot has to do with what Brian said. Antoine's the highest scorer in the league, and I think he's just bound to get that W. I mean, he can't keep running into these issues, right, where he's playing one of the higher scorers of the week, or he wasted all his points against you, Brian. He just built up all that energy from years of fantasy rivalry and just unloaded on you. So, but I'm with Antoine in this one.
like a virgin on prom night, held it all in.
He went hard on you, man. Yeah.
I'm gonna go with Antoine too on this. I think. Kevin's been putting up some points, but Antoine's just putting up some ridiculous numbers. Tyreek Hill's just having an insane year. Lamar Jackson has been up and down. Ford has been sneakily good for him. He's been showing out. He does have Smith-Schuster, who's trash, but he's got Waller, and I think just overall, I think he's gonna win. And because Kevin decided to smack talk my employer, so I'm gonna go with Antoine.
And I am gonna go with Kevin.
Oh,
I think, like I said, the Bills are playing the Giants. I think Josh Allen is going to go the fuck off. He's also got Thielen, who's become, the security blanket in Carolina. Michael Thomas against Houston. That's a good matchup. And you got to remember that Patrick Mahomes has never lost to Denver. And I think Travis Kelce has 2 touchdowns. Taylor Swift writes a song about it. Max Crosby has a sack. And Kevin takes the dub.
I like your reasons, though. They're good reasons. Especially the Josh Allen one. I was looking at that after I made my pick, and you guys were talking about yours. I'm like, oh, and Lamar Jackson's playing in London. I don't know how that's going to go. So, but yeah, we'll see what you got, Matt.
I just don't like the Giants. I don't like the Giants at all. I think they suck. And without Saquon, they are just trash. Big giant trash fire.
Yeah, the analysts agree with you.
Matt is the giant of our fantasy football league.
Oh, all right.
All right. I like the enthusiasm. Matt's going to be wrong, but I did like the enthusiasm. We were going to wrap it with the game of the week. The game of the week. It's kind of by default. We couldn't really come up with a game of the week because they're all kind of bland games, really. But we figured, Fred's catching fire and nothing to better put MDOT on a big stage to watch him lose. Because I did pick Fred, mainly because, it looks like Richardson's probably going to be out again. And if he's not, might get knocked out of the game again. Kenny Pickett's on a bye, not that would matter because he's trash. Overall, I just think MDOT's kind of on his stock is plummeting. He hit his peak and now he's starting to go down. He's been exposed for the trash that he is. Fred's back on his way up. He's about the only good thing that's ever came out of the state of Indiana, in my opinion. And so I'm going to go Fred. Greg, who do you got?
All right. And this one, I also went with Fred. One of the notes I wrote down is it's a bad time for a bye for Marcus. Not saying Kenny Pickett's anything, but looking at it, and he hasn't set his lineup yet, I'm sure, but I see just 2 players on his starting lineup right off the jump that are on bye week this week. Also, what you said with Richardson, that's not good. Even though he's playing against Bryce Young, who I don't think is much better. But he has Pollard, and then there's McCaffrey. So those 2 will put up some good numbers. But he has Breece Hall. I don't see Gus Edwards really doing a whole lot, especially against Tennessee's front four. He does have AJ Brown, and I didn't think about this until we were talking about another matchup. He'll probably be covered by Sauce Gardner, so that could be an interesting one there. But even with all that being said, I think Fred's going to pull off the win on Marcus this week. Also because Marcus said Steelers are king of the North. Okay.
I'm going to go with Fred as well for a couple of reasons. One, he has Jimmy G as a backup, and we all watched that travesty unfold last night.
Yeah.
The other reason is he has one tight end to replace both tight ends that are on a bye, and his tight end that he has, which is on his taxi spot, has averaged 1.9 points in 5 weeks. So that's real solid. It's just not going to be – I mean, he has CMC, which, I mean, CMC's been playing lights out. Obviously, he's got a solid player there, but Puka Nacua has been playing really well. He did score a touchdown, but his receptions went down with Mr. Cup coming back. But I just don't think he has the firepower to take down Fred, even though Fred does have, and it's pain to say, he has Bryce Young starting, and he hasn't been playing that well, especially going against Miami. I think that's going to be tough. But I think Fred overall just is going to take him down.
I'm on the Fred train. Quarterback is a big question mark for Marcus. Obviously, he's got McCaffrey and Nacua, but aside from that, I mean, just scrolling the lineup, it's not much that's making you scared or confident if that's your team that they're going to score points. I'm having flashbacks to looking at my own lineup, looking at his. So yeah, going with Fred.
I have a question.
Okay.
Or this one brings something up to you guys. With that, McCaffrey's going against Cleveland's defense. You think that will bring his numbers down this week?
I mean, a little bit, but I still think that Shanahan will scheme up something where he's going to get, 40 to 50 rushing yards, 20 to 30 receiving yards, and potential to break one of those screen passes for a touchdown.
Yeah.
The only thing I think could bring his numbers down is that's going to be such a blowout they pull him.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he won't
That's
get
always
that
the
fourth quarter numbers, So
Yeah, I definitely think the 49ers have this one.
yeah.
His
That's
lowest
what's great about those type of players. They start pulling them, that Peyton Manning effect.
Yeah.
What was that, Mark?
his lowest game was just this past week. I mean, he had 13.80 points. I mean, he's been averaging it in the 20s. I mean, he was ranked RB12 this past week, but I mean, it's hard to count out CMC, especially in a PPR league, especially with how he's been playing.
Yeah. Especially how San Francisco is built now. It's just built basically through him. A little bit of Ayuk. I think they finally found their stars. Last year they're still mix and matching a lot. It felt like now it's just they all kind of have their roles and they're running with it. So
Well, that and McCaffrey came to the 49ers mid-season.
yeah, so he had to feel his way in.
Yeah.
But I don't know, looking at the records in our league, I feel like there's maybe like Jimmy, Nick, and maybe Kevin would be the three that probably just want to give up. And maybe they need to fight for that first overall tank for Marvin situation. Other than that, I do like how competitive the league pretty much is. I mean, there's been a couple blowouts, but nothing like overly. I just feel like everybody still has a shot, except for Kevin mainly, and then also Jimmer and Nick.
But
Nick just because
right?
Nick's literally just because J. Jeff got hurt. What was that?
But especially Kevin, right?
Mainly overall, probably Kevin is the main one I would say should give up. And other experts have said the same, a couple from USA Today and whatnot. But how do you guys feel about how competitive it is? everybody's still trying to win at post like 5 weeks.
I like it. And just looking at the standings, it is pretty bunched. And especially remember, you got 6 teams that make the playoffs, so
Yeah.
you never know. I also am biased because I'm at the top of that list, so it's been fun for me. And I'm saying this because we're not talking about this particular league, but this league I pay attention to the most. Sleeper leagues like my primary, and then I'm like, I'll check my other ones to see how I'm doing in those.
Yeah.
Which I am undefeated in my other dynasty league too, by the way.
That is random as fuck. I'm rooting for you.
I agree. I do agree. But I did it.
Yeah. I'm definitely rooting for you this week because I am doing the tank for Marvin in that one. So if you would like to wax my booty hole in that league, that'd be much appreciated.
Well, I already did.
Oh, that was last week, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah. Good job. I forgot.
Yeah. So you're welcome.
Yeah. I traded everyone in that one, dude. I went full sell already.
Yeah.
I'm the type that I go after week 4. I mean, I was 0-4, so it was a real easy decision. But after about week 4 or 5, that's when I decide if I'm all in or I'm all out. I hate being in the middle. I either want a high pick or I want a chance to win it all. So I only give it like 4 or 5 weeks, and I'm flipping one way or the other. Like last year, it was about week 4 or 5. I was like, I'm buying everybody.
Yeah.
And I tried, and I made it to the playoffs, and then got beat by the best team in the league. So, but that's kind of how I decide that personally. But I think there's just going to be a lot that are going to go for. I'm interested to see who ends up going for the one. I think Nick might be ready to start rebuilding a little, just with Jeff going out.
Yeah.
And possibly Jimmer. I mean, it's a time to shine if you want to tank gracefully, in my opinion. But
Never lose hope.
What was that?
Never lose hope.
No, because you really don't ever know. Because the guy that won our league last year started off like 1-3. I think Andy Lay in our other dynasty went 1-3 and then won the whole damn thing. So it can't happen.
Yep.
But if you have an eye on a certain player like Marvin Harrison Jr., because he's going to be probably going to be the greatest NFL player of all time.
Wow. Even more than Prime?
Yeah, only because Prime went to Florida State and not Ohio State. But
okay. I don't know how much like Prime.
Not his fault. Fully just went to the wrong school. But that's all I have. Anybody else have any closing thoughts for this week? Anything they want to throw out there?
Thanks for having me on. It's been fun so far, and I like to see how it goes for the rest of the year. Should be fun. For sure. We'll have you on again. I think you're a pretty good guest. You might we have a good replacement for Mark if we ever kick him off. So hell yeah. But I'm down. All right. Well, we're going to go ahead and stop this recording now.